ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's debate. My name is Lucy and My name is Lucy and I'm the chairperson, and Harvey is the timekeeper. This debate will be judged by a panel of 3 adjudicators, who are Miss Butterfield, Mrs. Braund, and Miss Vasilev. The topic of this debate is that superheroes should be held accountable for the damage that they cause. The affirmative team seated to my right is from Belair Primary School. The negative team seated to my left is from Annesley Junior School. The speaking time for this debate is 3 minutes with a double bell at the end of your speaking time. A warning bell will ring once at 2 minutes. A continuous bell will ring 30 seconds after the final bell. Please switch off your mobile phones and other electronic devices. I declare this debate open. I call upon the first affirmative speaker, Avalon.
Good evening, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that superheroes should be held accountable for the damage they cause. We define the topic as superheroes, a being with superhuman abilities. Should be, that ought to. Held accountable, to be required to take responsibility for one's action. And damage, physical harm that impairs the value, usefulness, or normal function of something, and cause, to make something happen, according to Oxford Dictionary. What this means for our debate is that when superheroes are saving the world, they often cause mass destruction. Civilians and governments are left to pay and clean up the damage. When ordinary mortals cause damage, they are held accountable. So why should superheroes be any different? We, the affirmative team, heavily believe that this statement is unquestionably true. Tonight, as first speaker, I will be talking about how being held accountable fosters public trust and that superheroes are actually trespassers. Our second speaker, Hallie, will be discussing duty of care and recklessness. Our third speaker, Cody, will rebut and sum up our team's case. I am now going to discuss 2 points. My first point focuses on public trust. Many superheroes claim to be fighting for justice, some even calling themselves the Justice League. But what they really deliver is vigilante justice, which isn't justice at all. Vigilante justice refers to the action taken by individuals or groups who try to enforce the law without legal authority, as reported by Cornell Law School. Vigilante justice erodes public trust because it suggests the formal justice system is failing, creating a perception of unfairness and random decision-making, as published by 2023 article by Public Management Review. Trust in law enforcement is not just about complying with laws. It's about fostering a sense of safety, fairness, and mutual respect. The glamorization of vigilante justice weakens the public trust in our law enforcement and legal systems. Superheroes who are held unaccountable for their actions and their damage encourage the notion of vigilante justice among the public and undermine proper law enforcement. Now to my second point, superheroes are actually trespassers. Entering property without permission is against the law. According to the South Australian Law Handbook, a trespasser is someone who enters your land without invitation or implied permission. If the trespasser damages property in the process, they are liable for damage. According to William Hale, a litigation attorney, superheroes are clearly entering private property without the permission of the owners when they crash through skyscrapers or enter private residences while fighting villains. In 2024, SA Police were actually ordered to pay a man $40,000 in damages for simply going to his front door and knocking on it. Later, the court found the officers guilty for trespassing. If that action made the police guilty of trespassing, then surely the entering of premises without permission from the owner by superheroes must have the same consequences. This is why superheroes must be held accountable for the damage they cause when they illegally trespass on private property. So, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see with the unmistakable evidence that we have provided, superheroes must be held accountable for the horrific damage they're constantly causing. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that superheroes should be held accountable for the damage that they cause. We agree with the definition given by the affirmative team. However, we, the negative team, are certain that this statement is false. Now to my rebuttal. The affirmative team said that we need justice for the victims of the damage. Now this may be true, but if there was slight damage to your house or car, would you really care about that if your life had just been saved? And also, if we're talking about how it installs public trust if people are being held accountable for the damage that they cause, would it build public trust if the world had just been saved by a superhero? I think so. The first affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that superheroes are trespassers. This may be true. However, a trespasser is someone who passes on to someone else's property. Superheroes are saving the world. Would you rather a superhero stop and not trespass or save the world? Now to my team split. Today, as first speaker, I will be talking to you about how villains cause the damage, not superheroes, and how superheroes are fictional, so cannot be held accountable. Our second speaker will be talking about how superheroes have good intentions, and also how the damage superheroes prevent is more than the damage they cause. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. I will be discussing 2 points. My first point is that villains cause the damage, not superheroes. Have you ever seen a superhero running around causing damage with no moral reason? What about a villain? Superheroes shouldn't be held liable for the damage when the villains actually cause it. We don't hold a firefighter liable when they break a window to save someone. It's the same for superheroes. If a villain was threatening the world, would you break through a window or uproot a building to defeat them? Now to my second point, that superheroes are fictional so can't be held accountable. Can you send fictional characters to jail, to court, or give them fines? Superheroes can't be held accountable in the same way we are. However, they are accountable for saving the world and people's lives. Take Batman, for example, who promised never to let any person perish in Batman Begins. If superheroes are held accountable, think of the audiences that watch them. Do we want children crying while running out of a theatre because Superman broke a few buildings, then got it while saving the world from Lex Luthor, then got arrested and sent to jail? So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, if we're going to hold fictional characters accountable for the damage they cause, shouldn't we be holding the party that's responsible accountable? The villain, not the superhero. Superheroes are not trying to cause damage. They only will if they have to. As Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you.
I call upon the second affirmative speaker, Harley.
Good evening, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that superheroes should be held accountable for the damage that they cause. We believe that this statement is unconditionally true. Before I begin my arguments, I will highlight the errors in the negative team's case. The first speaker from the negative team has tried to tell you that the damage is the villain's fault. In South Australia, everyone is responsible for their own actions, and the concept of taking responsibility for one's actions is enshrined in various laws, notably the Civil Liability Act 1936. Villains are responsible for their crimes, and superheroes should be responsible for their vigilante actions. If superheroes do not accept this accountability for their actions, they can get away with anything they want. This is not justice. They also said that superheroes are fictional characters. We are not arguing whether superheroes exist or not. The topic for our debate is that superheroes are held accountable for the damage that they cause. Our first speaker, Avalon, has already explained that being held accountable fosters public trust, and superheroes are actually trespassing. Now I will provide two further arguments. My first point is that superheroes are breaching their duty of care. Even when you are saving the world, you have a duty of care. In South Australia, the Civil Liability Act 1936 describes a duty of care as a legal responsibility to take all reasonable steps not to cause foreseeable harm to another person or their property. Superheroes of all stripes use force to destroy or incapacitate the villain, carelessly causing property damage and even loss of life. This is a breach of their duty of care if they have not taken reasonable steps to avoid causing harm to another person or property. Superheroes should not be exempt from the proper legal enforcement and must be held accountable for breaching their duty of care. Now to my second point. Holding superheroes accountable will prevent recklessness. Recklessness is defined in the Oxford Dictionary as acting without care for risks or consequences. According to the Office of Justice Program, punishment acts as a deterrent from repeating the same offence. If there are no consequences, superheroes will continue to take unnecessary risks and act recklessly. In South Australia, the Summary Offences Act 1953 states that a person is guilty of property damage if they are recklessly indifferent to whether their actions damage property. Superheroes are not above the law, and the same accountability must be applied to them. After the fighting is done, the superheroes simply swoop away without paying for the damages they have caused. If mere mortals are held accountable for the damage that they cause, shouldn't this also apply to superheroes? So, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, you can see by the evidence we have provided that we, the Affirmative team, believe that superheroes must be accountable for the damage that they cause. Trespassing and breaching the duty of care is not suddenly legal just because someone is wearing spandex. Thank you.
I call upon the second negative speaker, Alba.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that superheroes should be held accountable for the damage they cause. We, the negative team, strongly disagree with this statement. Now, on to my rebuttal. The Affirmative team said that holding superheroes accountable is against the duty of care. Now, this may be true, but superheroes shouldn't be treated the same as everyone else under the law, because superheroes are not like everyone else. They face threats that normal humans never could. If we treat them like criminals for doing their job, we risk losing them when we need their help the most. Sometimes a duty of care means saving the world. The Affirmative team also said superheroes are reckless. Now, this may be true, but superheroes are always fighting for the greater good and to help. They may act reckless, but it's necessary during an emergency if it's to save lives or even the world. Now to my recap. As our first speaker said, supervillains, not superheroes, are the actual ones that cause the destruction, and you cannot hold fictional characters legally accountable. Now to my arguments. Superheroes fight for the greater good. They step in to save lives. Have you ever seen a superhero save the world for a selfish reason? No, they act out of duty. Yes, some damage may happen, but punishing them for that goes against the Good Samaritan rule, a legal principle that protects those who try and help in emergencies, even if they are unsuccessful. If we hold superheroes accountable for every broken window or damaged car, we discourage them from saving lives. We should support them, not create legal roadblocks. Now to my second argument. The damage superheroes prevent is far greater than the damage they cause. Without superheroes, villains could destroy entire cities or even the world. So yes, a few cars might be crushed or buildings damaged, but that's nothing compared to what could happen if they didn't act at all. And superheroes aren't just protectors, they're role models. A report by Summit Counselling says children use these superheroes in pretend play to see the best versions of themselves and how they can have the confidence to lead. Kids also see superheroes having disagreements with each other, but still protecting and supporting each other, such as Captain America or Iron Man. This dynamic is common in friendships and families, and it normalizes conflicts and how to resolve them. So superheroes might cause slight damage overall, but they have a much more positive impact, from saving the world to teaching the next generation. To conclude, think about this. If a firefighter breaks a window to save someone inside, do we make them pay for it? No, of course not. So why would we ever treat superheroes any differently? Thank you.
Call upon the third affirmative speaker, Cody.
Good evening, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that superheroes should be held accountable for the damage they cause. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is undeniably true. Before I summarise my team's case, I will point out the flaws in the negative team's arguments. The first negative speaker has tried to tell you it's the villain's fault. Yes, this may be true, as a villain is typically held accountable for starting the conflict and directly causing damage. However, superheroes also share responsibility for insufficient efforts, recklessness, and for failing to control the consequences of their actions, as reported by Mill Park Education. By only blaming the villain would lead to superheroes not being held accountable for the damage they cause. They also said that superheroes are not real. This argument isn't relevant to the topic because it's a red herring fallacy. A red herring fallacy distracts us from the original argument into thinking about something else. The original argument is superheroes should be held accountable for the damage they cause, not if superheroes are real or not. The second negative speaker has tried to tell you they've proven more damage that they create. Yes, this is partly true. Superheroes are saving civilians, but they are also destroying communities at the same time. They smash through buildings, destroy transport, and tear up the roads. As Speaker 2 has already stated, they are reckless. According to the South Australian Criminal Law Consolidation Act 1935, it is an offence to unlawfully damage property. And this is what superheroes do, and must be held accountable for the damage they cause. They also said that superheroes are good intending. While this may be true, our first speaker has already said that they are vigilantes. This means that while they may begin with good intentions, no one is stopping them from going to get unnecessary revenge or take bad actions. Now I will summarise my team's case. Our first speaker, Avalon, spoke to you about how superheroes operate using vigilante justice, which corrodes the public trust. She also spoke to you about how superheroes are actually trespassing on private property, which is against the law in South Australia. Our second speaker, Hallie, has also spoke to you about how superheroes in their act of saving the world are actually breaching their duty of care. She also spoke to you about how, without accountability, superheroes are reckless in their actions, acting without care for risks or consequences.
So, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, superheroes swoop in to save the day, engage in epic battles against villains, and unintentionally leave behind a trail of destruction for the community to clean up. This is why superheroes must be held accountable for the damage they cause. Also, superheroes are not above the law, and the same accountability must be applied to them. Thank you.
I call upon the third negative speaker, Indigo.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that superheroes should be held accountable for the damage they cause. We, the negative team, know that this statement is false. Now to my rebuttal. The first affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that superheroes don't have public trust. Would you care that your life was just saved and that superheroes don't have your trust? The first affirmative speaker has also tried to tell you that superheroes are trespassers. This is a dangerous line of reasoning. You're effectively asking them to prioritise trespassing over a ticking bomb. A hero shouldn't have to hesitate to save lives because they're worried about a lawsuit. The second affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that superheroes break the duty of care. This isn't about being above the law. It's about being in a unique position that the law doesn't account for. They're saving us from threats that our laws can't even comprehend. The second affirmative speaker has also tried to tell you that superheroes are reckless, but they are not. They are calculated. This risk is an inherent part of the job. You wouldn't call a soldier reckless for taking damage in the line of duty. Time for my team recap. Our first speaker spoke to you about how villains cause the damage, not superheroes, because the villains are the ones intentionally causing destruction, whereas superheroes aim to protect and save lives. She also said that superheroes cannot be held accountable for they are fictional. Our second speaker spoke to you about how superheroes fight for the greater good. She also stated that the damage they prevent is far greater than the damage they cause. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we know that superheroes should not be held accountable for the damage they cause for many reasons, including that villains are the ones causing the damage, not superheroes. Superheroes cannot be held accountable, but they are fictional. Superheroes fight for the greater good, and that the damage they prevent is far greater than the damage they cause. Thank you.